So starting us off, we have Rachel Myers, who's at Bristol University and is the course director for the EPSRC Centre for Doctoral Training, which we've heard about a few times here on the stage. I think we've also got Jonathan Reed in the audience, so if there are any tricky questions, I'm sure you can deflect them to him at the end. But in the meantime, it'll be good to hear what you've got to tell us. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much to everyone for making it in this morning after the gala dinner. I'm not going to do any hardcore science, so we can get that bit out of the way to start with. So as the introduction said, I'm Dr. Rachel Myers. I'm the course director for the EPSRC Centre for Doctoral Training in Aerosol Science. And I'm going to talk to you today about some innovations that we've done within the centre in terms of training of practitioners in aerosol research and also engagement with partners. So to begin with, exactly, who are we? So the centre, which we call the CDT for short, is the only UK-based postgraduate training programme in the science of aerosols. And it was established in 2019 to deliver a comprehensive and broad-based training in aerosol science. And we offer a 4-year cohort-based training and research PhD. We span 9 institutions, which are shown in the top right of the slide, and we have over 90 industrial and public sector partners. And since the centre's launch in 2019, we've enrolled 111 postgraduate researchers who we refer to as PGRs. And the CDT is highly multidisciplinary. So our PGRs have a broad range of undergraduate backgrounds, shown by the chart on the right. And our academics across our institutions span 5 different STEM faculties. So we're really, really diverse. About 25% of our PGRs are returners to education, and they're also alumni of 37 different UK institutions. So the CDT was first funded in 2019, where we received money from the EPSRC, and then it was 7 institutions with 65 industrial and public sector partners. And over the first 5 cohorts, we were funded first for 5 cohorts. We recruited, or we have on the books, 90 PhD students. And there was a total investment in the centre of 14.5 million, some of that from the EPSRC, some from the partner universities, and also a significant amount from our partners, both cash and in kind. So after a successful 5 years, we decided to put in for a renewal of the centre in 2023 under the guise of meeting a user need, so really showing how we are delivering training that benefits our partner base. And thankfully, that bid was successful, and so we've been refunded for a further 5 cohorts of students, the first of which started just in September. We're now 8 institutions, we've grown to 90 industrial and public sector partners, and we have a target of recruiting over 100 PhD students over 5 cohorts. And I just draw your attention to the significant increase in the funding for the new centre. So we've jumped to a committed investment of 20.3 million, with increasing contributions from both EPSRC, universities and partners. So I've just put on the slide some of our DDL partners to show kind of the breadth of our partnership base, and in the rebid also to flag that we did receive a letter of support from the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Respiratory Health to go in to support the bid. So really some great support from our partner community. So what I'm going to talk to you about today, and I will just go over each of them briefly, and I'm very happy to take questions at the end, is really the innovations that we've done in the training and partnerships. So we have a curriculum that has been co-created with professional aerosol science practitioners. We have a range of mechanisms for partner engagement. Our PhD project design is interdisciplinary, and we also offer part-time work-based PhDs. We deliver opportunities for partner employee CPD, and our training programme is informed by research-based instructional strategies. So these are all things that we think are innovative in the sector. So starting in our innovation in centre design and partnerships. So the aerosol CDT really came into being by a desire to bridge the normal disciplinary silos that you've historically had in aerosol science. So even though the science underlying all of the different disciplines that are shown on the screen might be the same, traditionally, where aerosol science has been taught in higher education, it has been done within a disciplinary silo, and people haven't then transferred their knowledge to different ones. And the idea of the CDT was really to work out what the core training that people needed was that covered all of these different disciplines and provide a centre to deliver that. So work to do this started back in 2018, where the Aerosol Society held a stakeholder workshop where there were representatives from UK-based enterprises, industries and public sector organisations that used aerosol science. There were academics at higher education institutes that taught aerosol science, and really looking at what were the commonalities between all of these different groups and what could a curriculum look like. So the stakeholder event explored the training needs of both current and future employees, identify what those critical knowledge and skills were that transcended all of them, and to determine a framework that actually could be used to deliver that training. And some DDL-related stakeholders that were included in that stakeholder workshop are just shown on the slide here to show the relevance to this community. So the outcome of that stakeholder workshop was what we call our 9 graduate competence and training frameworks. So these are what we hope that every single PhD student that exits our programme goes away with. So I realise there's a lot of text, I'm not expecting you to read it. Obviously, the presentation is being recorded, but just to kind of say that these top ones are more to do with the technical aspects. So using aerosol science to solve problems, to come up with new experimental approaches. But the bottom ones are more about transferable skills. So being able to work in multidisciplinary teams, being able to be reflective as a scientist. And so really we aim to develop both the technical and the broader transferable skills in our programme. So with that in mind, we have come up with our co-created training programme, which takes these 9 graduate competencies from the stakeholder workshop. It puts it with the training model, which includes a short thematic broadening research project that the students do and an integrated partner placement. We add to that what we call our guiding training philosophy, where we want to use research on how, on successful educational methods to do our teaching, and also embed ED&I within our process as well. And that's come up with our CDT 4-year training and research PhD programme that I'll go into details with in a moment. But just to loop back to our partners, so within the CDT, there are 3 different partnership tiers, which are designed to offer flexible and accessible engagement with the CDT. So we have our Tier 1 partners, which is an in-kind contribution, and they are able to attend our annual aerosol conference and our sandpit, and also mentor and host our PhD students on placement. Our Tier 2 partners, which is a cost of £5,000 per year, have access to the CDT training materials that our postgraduates have access to, and we're also able to deliver some bespoke training opportunities for them relevant to their needs. And the final one, our Tier 3 partners, is really our co-funded PhD studentships between the CDT and an industrial partner. And they're really about delivering research that is of a specific interest to the partner who's part funding that project, and that would be a £15,000 per year contribution to the studentship. But obviously that can involve a longer term placement of the PGR within the partner and access to any IP from the research. So what our partners can expect and what they participate in, they come to our annual aerosols CDT conference where all of our students present their work. And this is thought of very highly by our industry partners. So just a comment from one of them there flagging the quality of the work presented by the students. Our partners are also involved in what we call our Dragon's Den event, because we do innovation and enterprise training for our students. And they have a week to come up with a project proposal to fulfill a brief, and they have an industrial mentor for that. And we have had mentors from a DDL-related space helping before. And we've also had some DDL-related partners contributing to our summer schools. So there's lots of opportunities for partners to be involved and engage with the students, and we really appreciate the contributions that they make. In terms of our interdisciplinary project design, we have an annual sandpit where collaborative PhD projects are co-created with CDT academics and partners. Everyone's brought together to discuss their research aims and their grand challenges. The project thematic areas for CDT 2019, so our first 5 years of funding, were kind of spread around the different disciplines shown in the pie chart. So you can see there's a significant contribution from aerosols and health. And also within our first 5 years, just to say that 36 of our PhD proposals were co-funded by partners, so around 40% of the total. 80% of our projects involve collaborating academics from different institutions or faculties, and around 40% of our PGRs do their PhD in a different department to their undergraduate discipline. So really just speaking to this interdisciplinary nature of the centre that we've built. I've just put up some of our project highlights. So some of you may know Toria, Khaled, and Lance. So both of Toria and Khaled have successfully submitted their PhDs, and both are working in DDL partners. And Lance has submitted and is waiting to defend. And I've also put a selection of our other students who are co-funded by industry. These aren't all of our DDL projects, but these are just the ones highlighted with industry co-funding. So moving on to the innovation in the training itself. So I've said that we run a 4-year training and research PhD program. The first year is a focused training. So even though our students will study at different universities, we have them in Bristol, which is the lead of the centre, for the first 8 months, and they do 5 taught units. 2 of those are related to aerosol science, and the other 3 are around these more broader transferable skills. So we'll teach them to code, we'll teach them to build aerosol models. They will look at environmental sustainability in research. They will look at responsible research and innovation. So a really broad curriculum. They then move on to do a short research project for 3 months, and this is supposed to be something that's going to broaden their skills. It can't be directly related to their PhD. It has to be a different type of project, and they can do that at any one of our institutions. They'll then write a report, and they progress to their second year, where they start their PhD research in earnest, but they will come back to us each year for the annual conference for summer school, and they will also undertake their partner placement. And just to highlight that we are well regarded by our external examiner, which is always a good thing to have, but really saying that it's an extensive and well-balanced training programme, and the effort is put into these broader transferable skills. So we do also offer a part-time programme, and this has been taken up by employees of our partners who've wanted to do a PhD part-time with us. In that case, they will do the core aerosol science in the first year. They may do some of their short research project in the first year. They may do all of it, or they may do none of it. But essentially, over the first 2 years, they will do all of the talk content and the short research project, and then they will be able to move to their PhD research. For those part-time PhDs, if they then move to research full-time, they will complete by year 5. If they do part-time, you're obviously looking at year 8 before completion. But our part-time PhDs also come to the annual conference and the annual summer school, and they're incorporated into the cohort along with everybody else. So we do have, at the moment, registered with us 3 part-time work-based PhDs from some of our partners. So we have a PGR from HSE, one from DSTL, and one from UK HSA. So Sam and Simon have both completed their initial training years, and they're working on their PhDs full-time. And they're doing that at their partner, at their employer. Pat has just started her first training year with us. So we have experience of people coming through the system, and what they have all said that they really value is the core aerosol science training, the talk content that this programme gives them access to. So the core aerosol science topics that we teach are up on the slide. Hopefully you can see that there's a broad range of topics, some particularly of relevance. So we look at size distribution, shape and concentration. We look at deposition. We look at kind of aerosol phase and thermodynamics, evaporation and condensation, material synthesis via aerosol routes. We also have specific topics on inhaled aerosols and health, and aerosol chemical processing, drug delivery to the lungs. So really some very relevant topics. And we deliver our training using methods that are informed by educational research. So our core aerosol science training is taught by something called team-based learning. And this has been shown in the literature to provide a really good framework for interdisciplinary peer-to-peer learning. So really picking up on, again, that transfer of skills from people from different backgrounds. So our PGRs are placed in multidisciplinary teams, and they work together throughout the course of the year in TBL using this flipped classroom approach. So they will look at some content online before the class, they come to the class, and then they spend all of their time working to solve real-world aerosol problems in their teams. And it also is a great way of developing communication and team working skills. And within the CDT, we're obviously really interested in whether these processes that we put in place work. So what we do with our PGRs is we do a form of assessment called two-stage assessment, where our students will do a multiple choice test individually, and then the same test again as a team. And the idea of this is when you're working in the team, any questions you didn't understand as an individual, you get explained to you, and everybody comes away with greater knowledge. And we've shown that actually by research that 87% of the times our teams will do better answering the questions than the best performing students. So even the person that got the most questions right will learn something from the team-based element. So just to highlight the CPD opportunities for our partners. So during stakeholder consultation for CDT 2024, 70% of our partners agreed that their organisation would benefit from access to training in aerosol science for CPD. And this is really recognising that most people don't receive any training in aerosol science within the higher education system. So what we offer as a CDT is that our Tier 2 partners can access the asynchronous pre-class core aerosol science content, so all the stuff that's seen by our PhD students. And to date, we have more than 250 partner employees registered to do that, and 59 from one DDL partner alone. We've also offered focused training to meet specific partner needs. So, for example, we did a curated course for Tier 2 partner Chiesi. And coming in autumn 2025, we are instigating a week-long intensive training course for CDT partner employees. So I'm going to fly through this because I'm conscious of time, but just to show some of the impacts that we've had in the DDL space. So one of our PGRs did a short research project looking at the contribution of metered-dose inhalers to the carbon footprint of the NHS. And this was a 3-month project, but it actually led to 2 publications. We have also had one of our PGRs won a place on a hackathon, and they created a video working in a multidisciplinary team on looking at some of the challenges involved in respiratory drug delivery. And we've also tried to disseminate what we're doing within kind of the educational literature as well. And since 2019, we've delivered 19 conference contributions on what we do and 5 contributions to the literature. And we've also run some citizen science projects, and we'll be involved in the Next Generation Research Supervision Project, which is looking at supervisory practice. So in summary, just to highlight that I've gone through our co-created curriculum, our range of mechanisms for partner engagement, how we design our interdisciplinary projects. We offer part-time work-based PhDs and opportunities for partner-employer CPD, and we have training programs informed by research-based instructional strategies. So, very quickly, if you are interested in joining us, please do get in touch, and the contact details are on the slide. We have options to attend the CDT conference, host a placement, sign up for our training positions, or provision rather, or become an industry sponsor. And we are also recruiting for 20 studentships for start in September 2025. So if you do know of any excellent candidates, please do send them our way. And thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to take some questions.
Thank you very much for that update. It was really informative. If there is anyone with any questions from the audience, I can see at least one hand over here.
Thanks, Rachel. That was absolutely amazing and I think really impressive. My name's David Morton. I was a Bristol graduate, so it's fantastic to see that. So I'm Deakin University, and I do a lot of work in the placement, industrial placement space. And I think one of the questions that I've got is the impressive outputs you've got are outputs. I'm just wondering how, if you then sort of, are you thinking of expanding that more in terms of outcomes rather than just the outputs? You know, we tend to sort of pressurize in academia, we're measured by outputs, but the impact and outcomes of what then comes from the centre. Do you have some ideas as to how you might measure that side of things?
That's a really good question, thank you. So obviously we have just finished our first 5 kind of cohorts. We've got our first 2 graduating. So we're really interested to see how their trajectories are different if they hadn't gone through the PhD project. I would also say that more broadly, we have seen a transfer of processes of the way we do things into our partner institutions. Some of them have taken the educational methods that we've put in place in the CDT and applied them in their home institutions. We also have done a lot of work on EGI, and that is moving into other places. And I think we have had some indication from our partners that actually this is a really new way of thinking about doing things, and it's helped them to reflect on how they do things within their organisation at the moment. And so I think really it's just providing everyone with an opportunity to reflect on how we do things and think critically about, are there better ways to do it? But hopefully with our graduates moving forwards, maybe the culture change will be a bit more obvious in a few years' time.
Can I see any other questions? Or perhaps as a follow-up to that, do you think we're going to be able to see any case studies of where we've seen some of that multidisciplinary or even that industry crossover that have helped each other?
Yeah, I hope so. So I think we are now reaching the stage in the programme where those are things that we're going to be able to tease out. And that is very much something that we're looking at as part of our kind of reflection on whether our processes work as well. So yeah, we're very excited to see how that pans out.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, say thank you very much, and we're looking forward to more publications in the future coming out of this.
Thank you very much.
Again.